Say hi. Oh, he did! He said hi! My dog is on a diet. A raw diet, to be exact. He is the most spoiled thing I've ever seen in my life. My parents pamper the crap out of him, but for good reason. You know, I'm big into nutrition, but I never realized how important nutrition is for dogs too. That may seem kind of weird because most people just feed their dogs kibble, but seeing how healthy my dog is after being on a raw diet for 5 months really says something. So today I want to look into some brands that are often used for dog food, go over what my dog eats at the very end so I can refer something good, and debunk some common misconceptions regarding dog food. So let's get on with the video. The top 3 brands that come to mind when I think of dog food are Iams, Purina, and Blue Buffalo. I went on the websites of all of them, looked at a ton of different kinds they make, and the ingredients for each of them. So let's start with Iams. There was a column for different kinds of breeds, and of course I clicked on the one for German Shepherds because I've grown up with German Shepherds, but I'm pretty sure most of the ingredients are extremely similar for the different breeds. They make it seem individualized, but it's really not. So you can see the ingredients list here and what it looks like. On the labels, it makes it seem extremely healthy. And they boast that chicken is the #1 ingredient. But the second ingredient is ground whole grain corn. Now, that could be good or bad depending on where it's sourced, but most of the time, you don't want grains to be one of the top 5 ingredients in dog food. And I'll explain why later in the video. Also, one of the top ingredients is chicken byproduct. I also looked at Purina with their Pro Plan, where again, the first ingredient is chicken, but the second ingredient is ground rice, which seems great and all, but rice isn't really that beneficial for dogs. It makes the product seem healthier, but it really doesn't add much nutritional value to their meal. And then the third ingredient is poultry byproduct. 1, it's byproduct, so it's automatically bad, and 2, they say poultry, so you don't know if it's chicken. You really don't know what bird it's coming from. And I just think that's a little too ambiguous. But no one really does their research and look into the ingredients of what they're feeding their dogs. Now, Purina also has a line called Beyond Pet Food that commonly says grain-free on the front of the package and looks really nice. Like, look at that label. And to be honest, the ingredients don't look that bad. There's way less ingredients, and they seem to be okay. So if you were to choose a dry dog food, I would probably go with that one. But of course, do your own research and you can probably find something much better. And then the third brand I looked into was Blue Buffalo. Now, of course, their website looks great. It looks really healthy compared to all these other dry dog food brands. But what I ended up finding was insane. Blue Buffalo has had an ongoing lawsuit for 9 years for several reasons. The case was recently closed in March of 2018. This has been ongoing for toxic levels of lead in their dog food and for lying, straight up lying about their ingredients. So then that made me think, could these other dog food brands be lying too? Dog food is very loosely regulated. So really, they can say almost anything they want about dog food. And I'd also like to bring up another lawsuit from Purina's line Beneful. They were sued for having an ingredient called propylene glycol. It is an FDA-approved food additive that is also an automobile antifreeze. It's extremely toxic to dogs and humans. I don't know why it's FDA approved, but you know, I can't say anything. Of course, they don't have that in there anymore once they got exposed, but it just goes to show you how easily companies can put in bad ingredients and give it to your dog. Now, I want to briefly go over some ingredients you should avoid when looking at certain dog food brands. Of course, I already talked about byproduct, which is way less expensive to manufacture and much less digestible than muscle meat. There's also other things like pomace. One of the dog foods I showed earlier has apple pomace in it, which is also an inexpensive byproduct. And it does not contain the whole complement of nutrients as an apple. Another big one is brewer's rice. It's processed rice products that's missing many of the nutrients contained in whole ground rice. It's way cheaper, again, to manufacture and not a high quality ingredient. Another big one is gluten. Any dog food brands that have gluten in it it actually leads to gastrointestinal problems and weight gain. Now, there's been ongoing debate on whether or not grains are actually good for your dog, bad for your dog, if your dog can digest them, if your dog cannot digest them. There's a lot of opinions everywhere. The fact of the matter is, there's not really any scientific evidence or proof that it negatively affects your dog's health, but there's also no scientific evidence that suggests that it improves your dog's health. So the rule of thumb would be it can have low to moderate amounts, but from good sources. And lastly, I'd like to say thanks for watching to the end of the video. I'm gonna show you now what my dog eats. Okay, it's pretty expensive, but if you think about it, you're gonna be spending a lot less money on going to the vet when your dog has health problems. So in my opinion, it is 100% worth it. So for my dog's food, we have a base mix that you mix with water and meat. The meat can either be beef, chicken, or turkey. So for the base mix, it's a grain-free veggie nut and seed base mix. It's 100% human grade, gluten-free, and really healthy. Note this is not sponsored because obviously I have nowhere near enough followers for any brands to notice me yet, but I do highly recommend this brand. And this is what the back looks like, so you can get kind of an idea. It's good for dogs of all breeds and sizes. Damn, I would be a really good spokesperson for this. And when we mix it with the meat and water, it ends up looking like this. Looks good, right? And that's how it's done. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you share this with any dog owner you know. This is super important information that is often overlooked, so make sure you get the word out. I'm going to link a website in the description that has a huge list of ingredients you should avoid when looking for dog food. And I'll also put a link up to the dog food that we use. And that is all. Bye! Say bye!